Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. Yes, good afternoon. I'm so excited that you've joined us again for another webinar for the LinkedIn Thought Leadership community. Thank you for joining. My name is Gloria Dozie, and just in case you are not sure who I am, my name is Gloria Dozie, and I am the organizer of the LinkedIn Thought Leadership community, and I am a LinkedIn visibility coach. And what I do is I help mid to senior level career women get visible on LinkedIn and build thought leadership. So that's what I do. And I am so excited to be bringing you these webinars. I've brought quite a few in the past. If you've missed them, don't worry. I'll send the replay during the week for all the webinars that you've missed, including this webinar. So excited to have all of you here. Today, we have one of my most favorite people in the world. And I'm not even joking. Like, she's part of my favorite people in the world recently. I recently added her in 2020. Her name is Coach Folake Adeni Adeleye, or as I like to call her, or as she's fondly known, Coach FAA. This is her second time here. I think she was with us almost 2 months ago, and she promised she was going to come back to talk about how to navigate office politics. And here she is again to teach us how to win at work, strategies for navigating office politics. So just in case maybe you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Coach FAA is, let me give you a bit of gist about who she is. She is a regional HR director, an executive coach, and founder of Coachivate. She has over 20 years of experience spanning multiple industries from consulting, oil and gas, telecommunications, and IT. In her current role with a global IT corporation, she works very closely with business executives and stakeholders to implement people and talent management strategies. She's a certified life coach, and she has also served on the executive council of WIMBIZ. So, plenty accolades, plenty accolades. Coach FAA, you're so welcome today. Guys, can we give Coach FAA a welcome? Just unmute yourself for 1 second and just say, Coach FAA, welcome. Coach
FAA, you're welcome.
Coach FAA, you're welcome.
Nice to have you here, Coach FAA.
You're welcome, Coach
Mama. Excellent. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
Thank
Coach
you
FAA,
so much. Thank you. It's good to be here. Can you hear me, I hope?
I can hear you, but I can't see
yes,
you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm actually showing in 2 places. So you should be able to. Can you?
Okay, yes, I've seen you now.
Okay. I'm using my daughter's laptop, and God help me, I can't think about where she's put her volume is fine, but somehow it's not coming through on the laptop. I don't know what else so I'm actually using my phone as the audio today. I usually like to leave my phone free, but it's not happening like that. So
do you need a few
let us
minutes?
go on. Say that again.
Would you need a few more minutes just to organize? We can wait.
No, I would rather manage with time.
All right, okay.
I tested this, so I'm just the one. If I call her now, she'll start saying, "Mommy, but I told you these things, this and that." So I don't even want to be embarrassed, but the thing is there, so I don't know.
Anyway, we can see you fine and we can hear you fine.
And you can hear me. Okay. How do I look?
You look amazing. You look beautiful. You know, I normally do not wear makeup on my live. I always go barefaced. But because the last time you were on my live, you showed up. I was like, look, I have to show up. So today I wore a bit of powder. I did my eyebrows.
How do you even know if I wear makeup or not, Glory? How do you know?
That means your skin is luminous. Anyway, let's get on.
Extremely. There are tricks to that one. I'll teach you when we are, offline.
Okay.
Mr. Yomi Agiri, thank you very much.
Okay, excellent.
All right, yes.
Let's get to the meat of today. So I have a lot of questions, and I know people have come with their questions to ask. Guys, can I just ask house rules? Can everybody just mute themselves so that all we hear is Coach Ife speaking?
Thank
So
you.
the first thing is, let us demystify office politics. What is office politics? Just give it to us. Tell us.
So I've really been trying to get my own definition, and there's really no real one. If you like, office politics is really the way things are done around here, so that we can, you know, to advance certain agendas, you know, at the end of the day. But there are quite a number of things to say about office politics, Glory. And I think, you know, I definitely promised that we will give away strategies at this meeting. And that's what I really want to start with. Let's really, you know, talk about what it is and therefore what those strategies are. But before we start, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for having me as always, Glory. It is always a pleasure. And yes, you know, to your answer of before, I will do one free one for you. You don't have to, hey, you're my person.
Thank you.
You know, so what exactly do we mean? And let me start this way. And the chat box is open, is it, Glory?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let's start with it this way. When you hear office politics, what comes to your mind? Let's start that way. When you hear the word office politics, what comes to mind? And this is where I now have to, let me go to the chat box and also look at what's going on. So I want to know, when you hear the word office politics, what comes to mind? And because we want to demystify, we will ask this question again at the end of, I was going to say at the end of the service, but at the end of this session.
So, people are answering you. They're saying, so let me read the chat, what people are saying in terms of when it comes to
I can see it as well.
Employees scrambling for promotions or good appraisals. I see dirty game being played by people, the detriment of others. Pushing other people, and there are people forward and up. What gets you known and promoted? So it's how you use power and social networking within an organization to achieve goals. So there's a mixture really of positive and negatives of what office politics is. Somebody says having wayo attitude.
Office politics is unfair by top management, okay? Office politics equals inner caucus, okay? I used to think office politics, is that Yamifa saying, yeah, my brother? I used to think it was dirty or unethical, but it can actually be used to your advantage, correct? Okay?
It's Yemi Falaya.
Oh, Yemi, UN, thank you. All right. I see a lot of my bonds, my mentees, my friends, my mentors. Thank you all for the support. Onyi Diesel, I see you. All right. Okay. Office politics is getting and using power to your advantage. Office politics is organizational dynamics, how things are done. Which one haven't we read out? Sounds like hypocrisy in the workplace. I appreciate your candor, DDOT. Believe it or not, office politics is all of those things. However, let us start by shifting mindsets today. Somebody said, oh, Yemi says, actually, even households have politics. Even families have politics. Even the kingdom has politics. My most resourceful, my favorite resource material, you know, which is actually the Bible, says that I should be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. It doesn't tell me that I should be a serpent. It said I should be wise as serpents. Aristotle claims man is by nature a political animal. So you cannot avoid office politics except you want to be cast aside. So when you hear the word office, politics, of course, some of us hear what is bad, some of us hear what is dirty. Chisom says world politics, order of the day. The first thing to know about office politics is that it is not for the immature. It is not for babies. The word politics itself denotes that, of course, from an organizational point of view, it is an organizational reality. It is an inevitable part of organizational life. Politics is not always black and white. It's about navigating the gray areas that actually come with it. And because I know that we have a few questions, Glory, I want to run through a few things very quickly, knowing that the questions will, will also come up. Ada says, understanding about powers at the office and how you influence to your advantage. Thank you very much. So let us set the stage very quickly. Whilst politics is an inevitable part of organizational reality, there is good and bad politics. That is the truth. There is good politics and there is bad/dirty politics, as some of us actually hear it at the end of the day. And what is really, dirty politics? And we've seen it, a lot of us have actually been in it. Now, when I say that politics is not for babies, I'm assuming that I am not talking to babies today. I am talking to especially the mid to senior level career individuals who want to advance their cause within the organization, especially in line with the organizational good, right? So when it comes to advancing oneself at all costs, to the neglect and the detriment of others, then we're not talking about good politics. We are talking about bad politics. We're talking about dirty politics, where you find that there is a lot of maneuvering, ass-kissing, backstabbing, sucking up, being sneaky. Can we be real, please? There's good and bad politics. When it comes to good politics, this usually serves a higher purpose. Most of the time, over and above you, and in line with what is beneficial to the organization. Yes, it may be about advancing your interests, but it's not about being to the detriment of other people or the organization. This is about being savvy. It's about being street smart. It's about being well networked within the organization. It's about thinking ahead. It's about socializing ideas and managing stakeholders. And might I add that this is very much also about optics management. We're going to come to all that. So take it from somebody who didn't wake up one day and has been an expert at organizational politics. No, this is being completely savvy in what it is that, or should I say, in having observed over the years, right? And learning from one's mistakes. And Glory, I've talked about in the past, being able to, how will I call it? Having earned the scars, the war scars over time and your stripes. It means that not only have you fallen flat on your face, it means also that you have learned a lot of things the hard way. And God knows that in over 20 years of climbing the corporate ladder, yes, I have made a few mistakes. And that's why you are not going to make those same mistakes. That is why you are going to learn now what it takes and what it is that you can do to navigate the political currents in the organization. And by the way, I don't necessarily believe that we can do it all in an hour. But like I said, Let me throw out a few things there as much as, as much as possible. So strategies that has helped me and therefore can help you navigate office politics. And hey, I'm still learning. I'm still seeing certain things, but I think I also pride myself. Thank you very much. Having earned those war scars, that this is definitely possible. One, observe and pay close attention. Politics is very much contextual. It is contextual regarding the culture of your organization, perhaps the culture of your industry, perhaps the culture of your family. There might be people here who might also be, wanting to learn about politics because of the way the family runs. And therefore, how do you fit in? When you need to observe more as opposed to speaking. You know that there are times, please look at me, there are times that you need to be completely like this and just watch and learn. Who are the real power players? How are the scarce resources managed? How are key decisions made? What are the informal networks and who belongs to them? How do individuals react and interact with one another? Watch and learn the power play and the cultural nuances of the organization. What are our values that we put out there? However, what are our real values? What obtains within the organization in terms of how people get ahead? You have to know these things. And that's why I said, it's not necessarily for the faint-hearted, but if you're interested in advancing your cause, and advancing the way that you really need to move forward, then this is extremely important. Identify, so that was 1. 2, identify your allies, your stakeholders, and your key players. Identify your allies, engage them early. It's not only when you have problems that you go to people. Build relationships across the organization. Build relationship upwards, downwards, sideways, maybe even outwards. There might be people within your industry or that manage or control certain things in your industry. What relationships do you actually have, with them? Broaden your network across all levels. There's some of us, our friends are only the bosses. Whereas the person on the messenger who is sweeping the floor is a power player in the organization, yet you don't know the person's name. Really? Identify the common ground that you have with these allies. If you want to push something at the management table, there are certain people that you cannot afford on the management table to be hearing for the first time. You certainly should have done your homework. What is it that is common between what the CHRO, the CIO, the CTO, and maybe even the CEO needs to know? What is the common ground amongst all of them? Be able to do your homework and research, and then identify those, build those relationships, and then engage those relationships in terms of the cause that you're then trying to advance. Trust is everything. And you see, before we even start to talk about politics, and this will come up at some point, your reputation of doing good work needs to precede you. That is the best political game that you can play. Does your work speak for you? Does your work speak volumes? Because at the end of the day, when the dirty politics might be going on, that is the first thing that you actually have as your tool. That's the first thing that you have as your ammunition. And then it's about then how you build trust. Building trust is about seeking first to understand what exactly is going on here. What is the root and the core of a particular problem? I cannot see an issue in the office today without first of all sitting back and thinking very clearly. Is this really the symptom that I'm looking at, or is it the root cause? If this is not the root cause, then what is? If this is a symptom, should I be wasting time and energy on it? Or do I need to quickly identify the root cause? And if I'm not very clear, then I don't at any time leave this life without having people that support me around me. I have good friends, I have spiritual directors. My husband is one of my bestest friends and my greatest advisors and critics. You have to surround yourself with people. And a lot of times it's being able to tell between what the symptoms are and the root causes, and therefore what to do about them. So build trust. Building trust is also how you respond to the issue of the day, especially where you have found yourself in the middle of it. Last but one. So before I take that last but one, Last but one, optics management. There is something about managing your stakeholders. There is something about optics management. Optics management is not about your intention. It's not about what you think you should do. What are you seen to be doing? So it's not about the fact that, oh, well, we thought about it. That will actually be a good idea. What was the step that you took? What was the move that you make? So it's not about your intention. And then optics management is about being seen sometimes to quickly prevent the problems. Can you attack it at its trigger? What is triggering it? There's so many times in the office, especially in a male-dominated environment sometimes, where you know that it's all about egos. There are certain situations where I have had to humble myself to manage and massage the egos so that it does not blow up in all our faces and become a larger problem. That is about managing the optics, you know, sometimes. Faidat, I hope I can. I wish I could be lying down the way you are right now and listening to this program. But thank you very much for reminding us that it is Saturday. I like it. I couldn't help but actually take you on. Last but not the least, you can engage in office politics without selling your soul. Should I say it again?
Please.
You can engage in office politics without selling your soul. It is about staying true to yourself. Check your motivation. Why are you engaging? Why do you need to engage? If you need to be an active participator, then check your motive. Is it born out of fear? Is it born out of revenge? Is it born out of jealousy? If you've checked yourself, don't make a move. Don't make a move. Stand back until again you want to be able to seem to be navigating with integrity and your professionalism. I would have said that navigating with core values, but it's not about core values. My core value may be about developing others and getting them up the ladder. Maybe biased towards women, I don't know, hint, hint. But there are others whose core value may be about making money at all costs. So it's not about core values. It's about navigating with integrity and professionalism. Be open about what you want to see. If you are engaging with the people that you need to bring together before you get to the management table, for example, be clear. This scarce resources, we have to give some money to HR at this point in time because it's not just about fluff. It's about the fact that if people can come together for productivity purpose, then we know that in the long run, this is what is going to benefit us. State your point. Now, it's not every time everybody needs to even know what your motive is, but in terms of what you want to see, be open about it. Will it further the objective of the organization or will it make it worse? Those are the things that you need to be able to ask yourself whilst you are being street smart, whilst you are being politically savvy, whilst you are being, whilst you are socializing the ideas. Oh, glory. I hope with these few words of mine.
Coach FA, Coach FA, thank you. You've really broken it down for us. You've really broken it down for us, but there's still some cocoa we need to distill. We need to empty out some of the things.
We need to touch.
We need to touch. We need to go inside some things. So I really like the idea of the first thing you said, you know, stopping and watching. What is even going on here? Who are the power? Because a lot of times we just rush into a situation. And I also found that a lot of things you were saying, it really hinged on don't be emotional about things. Right? So this idea of actually taking a step back and assessing the situation, looking at the optics of the situation before engaging, checking your emotions, checking why you are even participating. So I really like those ideas. But let's not even get to the beginning before we start getting to the middle. My first question is, do we even need this office politics? I'm sure people are saying here, Jeff, all the things you have said, it's all well and good, but must I do it? Do I need it to win at work?
I thought I already dealt with that. But let me say it in a very clear way. No, you don't need to. No, you don't need to engage at all. But it means that you must be ready to live with the consequences. So you see, office politics is going on around you. You decide whether you want to engage or not. But if you have a cause to advance, if you have battles to win, if there are scarce resources and you need to get your point across, you need to get your project across, then of course you cannot but not engage. We have already said that there is good and bad politics, there is dirty, and a mentor of mine told me, recently, yes, you might actually choose not to engage, or you might also decide that you want to engage from a higher moral ground. And let me tell you something, that wins every time. It might not be clear immediately, but it wins every time. Because at the end of the day, yes, there are people who are, completely engaging because they want to advance their own cause, and it is for their own, or should I say, agenda. But the thing about it is that, again, what is your agenda? So that question is very much about also the cultural context of the organization. What is the level of politics that we're talking about? What is your level in the hierarchy? How mission critical is your function, and therefore your own output? And you need to understand it. Do you have to engage every time? No, not necessarily, but you definitely need to understand it. But again, what are your credentials? What is your reputation when it comes to delivery? And the truth about it is that engage, because some of the stuff that you learn is really by making mistakes and observing.
I love it. So this answer is twofold, Coach Efe. Can you hear me? Coach Efe,
Yes,
can you hear
perfectly.
me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
I said this answer is twofold. So it says it's really about understanding when to engage and understanding how to engage. So the question is not should I be involved or not, it is when should I be involved and how do I want to be involved? And choosing the higher good and choosing the right way to engage. So thank you for clearing that. The next thing I want to go to is now, always get this question, visibility and eye service. We have established in our last call that visibility is important. But what is the difference between visibility and eye service? Please help us.
What is the difference? Visibility is about embodying the work that speaks for you, Glory. Eye service is misrepresenting the reality to make yourself look good.
Please say it again. I say it again. Say it. Misrepresenting the reality to make yourself.
Let me start with visibility. Visibility is about your work speaking for you. It cannot just be for the sake of being. It is about being visible for something that pays you, that pays your organization, that pays your reputation. Eye service is misrepresenting the realities to make yourself look good, sometimes at the cost or maybe even the neglect of others. That is eye service.
I think that is such an important distinction, really. So eye service is about misrepresenting the reality to make yourself look good, sometimes at the cost of others. And I think many times people think visibility and eye service are the same thing, but there is a very delicate nuance and difference. So visibility is about embodying the great work that you do, right? And showcasing it, while eye service is a misrepresentation of the reality. Thank you so much. I think that is so clear. Now, we've talked about office politics, and you've also told us about the rules of engagement. Can you give us some practical tips of ways that you have navigated office politics?
A lot of the tips that I gave, Glory, and the strategies are the ways that I have navigated office politics. and the ways that I have learned, you know, how to do it. And a lot of it is also having to check my own motivation. And there are mistakes that I have made in navigating politics in fear. I have also opened my mouth when I should have been like this and just watching, sometimes like a dummy. So a lot of what I have given you are not textbook issues. These are stuff that have been born out of learning, noticing, observing, and engaging, and learning how to do it, and learning how to do it authentically. So when you talk about practicalities, right? The most important thing is, again, one watchword for me is there will always be a gray area. And in navigating this gray area, first of all, I always ask myself, what is the symptom here? And so many times we throw in energies, mind space, worry, and sometimes wanting to even kill ourselves with worry when it comes to symptoms, as opposed to the root cause of an issue. And where I have been clearer about the root cause as opposed to the symptom, then it's about, okay, how do I solve this issue? Who can help me identify again your power players? And your power players might not just be the people at the top. There might be people below you. There might be people sideways. So as a rule, I don't keep acquaintances or friends or mentors in just one place in the organization. For some of you, you have only one friend, one person that you talk to, and you want to advance your cause in the midst of scarce resources. How? I'm typically an outgoing person, but the practical insights, Glory, is that I have had to be introverted sometimes to navigate.
Guys, can we all mute ourselves so that we can just hear Coach FAA, please?
I have had to be introverted. I have had to imbibe and embrace introversion to study the nuances and the political currents. And that means I've had to think inwardly. I've had to sit and watch. I've had to, perhaps move within certain circles and actually see how things are done before engaging. So a lot of what I have told you are practical insights from learnings that have gone on over 20 years of climbing the career ladder and navigating navigating the corporate jungle. Because yes, things are not always clear cut, even when they are clear cut, ladies and gentlemen.
Coach, you made a really great distinction now about extrovertism and being an introvert, and how you can actually be both and still engage in the right way in office politics. And I think that's very important, because a lot of times introverts think that extroverts think they own the world, and if you're not an extrovert, you really can't survive. So it's great, because even me, because I appear to be a bit extroverted, I realize that there are many times I have spoken with my extroverted tendency that I should have just kept quiet. And as an introvert, there are many times that you should speak, but you have kept quiet. So, it's about understanding when to engage. So I want to take some questions now. We're getting a lot of questions, and I don't want to lose them from the chat. So somebody has said, Olamide Adekunle has said, what about politics, which is toxic and demoralizing, especially in a male-dominated space where the main goal of the employee is to climb the ladder by pulling others down? What do you do?
So we said that before. I have worked in many male-dominated environments. I work in one as well. And again, what is your motive for advancing your cause? And once that is clear, that it's not selfishly about you, then it gives you cause to engage. What are you really trying to advance? So again, politics is contextual. However, within that context, what is it that you want to achieve? So if you identify the power players mean that who do you really need to talk to to advance that cause, or who do you need to partner with to advance that cause, or to talk about that project, or to talk about that assignment? Who do you really need to agree? If you go to the people who are, as you say, in quotes, are actually, engaging in that politics, or, playing dirty politics and all of that. You go to, to one of them whose voice, whose executive voice, is being heard at the table, and you state your cause. And you say, you know what, if the organization can do 1, 2, 3, do you know that we can move from level 5 and we can move quickly to level 1? Are you quite aware that that is possible? However, I'm going to need your voice on this matter. You cannot be quiet, because this is something that will benefit everybody. It will benefit you, it will benefit me. Where you are able to state your cause in that regard, and let me tell you something, we're not talking about something that's easy. A lot of the clients that I have to coach, I coach to find their executive voice and manage their presence at work, just to get their voices heard, just to get themselves being taken seriously. You have to also be careful about the way that you are perceived. Again, like I said,
perception.
First of all, your credentials, your reputation, your sincerity, the way that you are trusted. It must
it's
precede you. However, what about in those circumstances, or in those organizations where, because of somebody that you move with, because of someone that you've made friends with, people actually perceive you differently. People actually perceive you, and you'll see for those of you that follow at Coachivate on Instagram, I still said it, this week, what political animal are you? If you are not self-aware and you don't even know yourself, how do you know how you are being perceived? So how people perceive you is also important. And you want to do very, very quickly to manage their perception. If you have to come out and clarify, certain things about the way you are perceived, by all means do so. It might not be that you come out to the whole organization. I'm just saying them. And some of them are even open and say, oh, you're coming to me because you are being, political, but you are friends with this person. It doesn't matter who I'm friends with. However, if I'm friends with this person, what is it that you see? Do you see me advancing my own cause? Do you see me shedding blood on the corporate floor? Or do you see me pushing the agenda so that our organization can move to the next level? Which one is it? So be very clear about how you manage the perception of how others also perceive you. I hope I've dealt with that question. I know that there are others.
Yes.
So I want to keep this very short and sharp, but I know that people really need to hear where there's some gray areas, regarding office politics.
What I hear here is, it is your motivations that determines how you engage, right? So once you check your motivations, you are now able to engage in a better way. But also be careful about the optics. Be self-aware. So my next question, somebody says, so you remember when you were talking about checking the visibility rules in your sector? So how are people getting promoted? Being aware, right? Somebody has said, how can one play politics without, excuse my French, butt licking? In my former office in Nigeria, to move up fast, you have to be a yes man. So when the culture does not allow for integrity, I guess that's the summary, what do you do?
I talk about this with a friend and mentor of mine all the time. Bridget, I see you. Orla, I see you. Nobody said this was going to be easy, Glory. Where certain things start to conflict at your values, such that it is eating up your soul on a regular basis, you cannot function. You don't want to go to work today. Or how am I going to face this issue? To the extent that you really cannot take it any longer, you have a decision to make. It's not everyone that has grown a thick skin to the political game. And by the way, engaging in politics means that you have to think 3, sometimes 3 months ahead, 3 steps ahead of the competition, of the issue. So it's work. Like I said, it's really not for babies, but where your integrity then has to be, not that it's being questioned, but you are saying that even the higher moral ground is now completely being eroded, and you have no one in the organization to listen to that or to really take, because there are guys, there are the workings of an organization and how we relate within an organization is enough to cause workplace tensions. That is not because of you not being a good person or the other person not being good. It is just the way humans are. Politics is also a psychological game. And some have mastered it, whilst others are not. So be very clear about what is going on there. So are you saying that everybody within that organization is toxic, except you? I find that hard to believe. And if that then is the case, you have identified the root cause, you've separated it, you've brought your integrity is at stake, as well as your professionalism. You are being asked to do things that are standing against your morality and your professionalism and your integrity. Then, my friend, it's time to take a very hard decision as to whether you want to find an organization that is more aligned with your values, and your, and there are many parts of the organization that are, but perhaps you might need to find one that is right for you. I hope I did justice to that, except there might be one or two others who might want to.
No, what I hear is that sometimes there are tough decisions that have to be made. Nobody said it to be easy, and there are tough decisions that will have to be made. So that's what I hear. So my next question comes from Ruth. She says, while you might have the liberty and control of checking your motive, I realize you absolutely do not have control over the motive behind other people's reason for using office politics or what cause they are advancing. How do you manage that?
Ask that question again.
So while you might have the liberty and control of checking your motive, yes. Ruth, if you want, because it's Ruth Umigwe that asked the question, so maybe you can give some context. You can unmute yourself and just quickly explain what you're trying to say.
Okay, good afternoon, Coach FAA. And
hi, Ruth.
So what I'm saying is why you've emphasized on motive, which I think is a moral obligation, if you ask me. And by the way, I'm an absolute fan of office politics. I think you can't go anywhere without it.
Thank you.
So why you might have your own motive why you might have a control over your motive of office politics and why you want to use it, either to advance a cause or to promote, like you said. I mean, people have varied interests. It might be to bring the younger people up. It might be to make more women more visible and more in decision-making position. It might, the reasons are varied. Or even to climb the ladder. I mean, it's not a sin to want to aspire to go up. You might, I noticed that you have absolutely no control over the next person's reason for using office politics or whatever cause they're advancing. How do you manage that? And I find out that sometimes the causes they are advancing might not necessarily be moral or anything positive. So how do you manage that? You have control over yourself, but you don't have control over other people's motive.
One of the things that I actually had, and it's a good thing you brought this up, Ruth, I actually had 6 points that I wanted to share. I chose to share 5. So you've taken the 6 out of, you've taken it out of my sheet. The 6th one that I actually had was know your circle of influence and your circle of control. First of all, you have to know where you operate. What is your circle of influence? What is your circle of control? There are times that you might need to sit or stand or think or manage within that sphere. Now, you cannot spend time worrying about everybody else. What do you need to achieve? Now, being able to advance your cause means that I spoke, Ruth, about thinking 3 3 years ahead, 3 months ahead, 3 steps ahead. That comes with also surrounding yourself with good people, surrounding yourself with good counsel. Because where you might not actually be able to be sure of what's going on in the other person's mind, can you see around the corner? Can you use your own circle of control and your circle of influence where you are socializing the idea? People help you to see what it is that you don't see. That's what one of my mentors, I mean, that's what she does for me. She's on this call today, you know. It's sometimes being able to see around the corners that you cannot see, so that where you're not even sure of how somebody is thinking, how they might be coming across, or their own motive, you've done your homework to the extent that, you know what, I've covered as much ground as I can on this issue. I've done my research, I've done my homework. I'm actually going to go ahead. Remember, no man is an island. Seek first to understand. So what is it, what do you need to do to make sure that you've done all of your homework, you've covered all your ground? You cannot spend time worrying about everybody else. That is the truth, or whatever it is their motive. Do your homework, do your research, engage people in your sphere of influence. Where you need to take it higher, again, how are you managing upwards and what are your relationship upwards? I talked about managing up, managing sideways, managing outwards, managing downwards. Once you've done all of this homework, I honestly don't think that you can go wrong. And you know what, where you need clarity, and you need to bring it out with confidence, get an executive coach. Hey, get an executive coach. Start with Glory on how she's going to help you, position your professional brand. Then come and meet me, and then I can handhold you about how to find your executive voice and develop your presence to get heard after you've done all of your homework.
Excellent. So, Coach Efe, you mentioned managing upwards, and one of the key issues I always encounter when women start to try and become visible is feedback, right? And sometimes the feedback is negative. So you are becoming visible, your boss is not visible, or you are having to go higher to advance your cause, and it's interrupting your relationship with your direct supervisor. How do you manage this?
So the feedback is to who, Glory? Is the feedback to you? And I don't mean you, Glory, I mean you.
Yes.
Is the feedback
so to the person,
to you, okay?
Yes.
And you are becoming visible, but what's happening?
The feedback is negative. So maybe I know people that have maybe published speaking, they've gone to the speaking engagement and they shared it on LinkedIn. And then, the next day they come to the office and somebody says, now, wow, you're everywhere now. Or, you get invited to speak somewhere and everything, or, you qualify for this. And then somebody says, your boss is like, I think it's time you start concentrating on your work. And, appraisal is coming, but all the while you've been doing your work, all of a sudden your work is now an issue. How do you deal with this?
I got a similar question on the Coachivate DM recently. So if this is that same person, no, I don't even think it's the same person, but thank you for that question. I got this question recently. And, I told this individual short and sharp, I said, you have not done your homework. Go back so it might be your manager who is giving that negative feedback. Go back to your manager and make them a sponsor, an active sponsor in your career. And I told them exactly what to say and how to say it. And by the way, I get so many questions on Coachivate. I'm going to, So you want to come out better. So all the while you've been dormant as an individual. You've just been minding your own business. But now you've spoken to Glory Edozian, and she wants to position you as a thought leader. You want to start bringing out articles and stuff like that. Make your manager and those that may disturb you in the organization, make them a stakeholder to your professional brand. You can go to them and then ask for advice. First of all, check within the organization if there are any issues of conflict of interest that you want to avoid. So you cannot be working with a cloud technology company, and you too, you want to start selling cloud technology. Hello? Excuse me? What am I missing here? Or you're working with a recruitment agency, and on the side, you say you are the thought leader on recruitment because you started your own executive headhunting, whatever. Hello? That is not possible. But if you know the culture of your organization and the fact that some people, including your manager, might be a bit, not that they are taken aback, but they are challenged in a certain way. I have a tougher word in mind, but I will not, say it. But they are challenged by the way that you've just gone out. Before you even go and visit Glory, you go and ask for their advice. Mr. Yomi, I'm sorry if there's anybody that has a boss here, or Mr. Yomi, or if you are Mr. Yomi. But Mr. Yomi, what do you think? I want to put myself out there a bit more. I can see how, Cultivate and Associates, that's your company. I can see how Cultivate and Associates will benefit from this, because if I am a thought leader, then it means that we can attract more people to our organization. But I have so much in me. I want to pour out, but I want to make sure that you are the one giving me the advice. What do you think? Nobody is going to tell you not to do anything like that. They might, they'll definitely tell you how. If they say you should not do it, you don't belong there. You don't belong there. But where they're telling you, but when you're, thank you so much. So you're taking your barrow and your book. Please, can you go on? So what is the first thing I should be talking about? Do you have any topics in mind that I really should be managing? Then you'll be writing it down. You might not necessarily say, but so what are the demerits of this? What is the disadvantage? What should I really be careful about? Should I be worried about anybody within the organization? You're asking about them. Should I be worried about anyone? Okay, no, right. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I count on your support. I cannot do this. I will not be able to do this without you, but I'm thankful. I covet your prayers if they pray the same way that you do, even if they don't pray the same. I covet your prayers. I covet your support. And this is in no way going to interfere with my work. I'm going to keep delivering. At one point, I even want to interview you. You can come on my podcast. You'll be one of the first 3 people that I want to interview. Manage upwards, manage sideways, manage downwards, manage outwards. You have to be able to take your people along with you. After you've done that, like I said, seek them out, know who they are. After you've done that, please go. Maybe your first review, they will be the one to even review your article or your newsletter for you. But be open about it. There's no, what are you hiding? After all, is it not for the benefit of humanity? Is it just for you? There are treasure in earthen vessels. That treasure needs to come out, please.
Coach Efe, I have goosebumps. Mr. Yomi, take your pen and paper.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. My next question, somebody has asked, KG has asked, how can you repair your reputation if there is widespread misconception?
Is that my KG? KG son, is that you? Okay.
Yes,
it is. KG, mentee of life. So if there's widespread misconception about you, I have some gurus
can you mute
on this
yourself,
call.
please, so that we just hear Coach Efe, please?
Gloria, I have some gurus on this call, and I'm going to call on 1 or 2. Oh yes, I'm going to call on 1 or 2 of them, if you don't mind. So I hope Bridget is still on. I hope Orla is on. I hope Tolu is here. Bukola, I don't see you. I hope you're on. So I can call on them anytime, because after all, I'm not the wealth of knowledge. We've all built this whole career jungle. We've all built it together in the career jungle. if there's widespread misconception about
sorry,
it, what
Coach
is the
Efe,
symptom?
one second. Please, guys, can you switch off mute yourselves, please? Rose, I think you're not muted, and we are hearing a lot of static. Please, thank you. Coach Efe, please carry on.
If there's widespread misconception, where is it coming from? Why is it there? If you have let it linger for too long, first of all, take responsibility. Second of all, get counsel. What is the best way to start clearing up that misconception? Do you have to solicit the help of others to actually clear up that misconception for you? Do you have to advocate for yourself? One of our past quotes on Coachivate, and I'm sure Fidelia is on as well. Fidelia works with me there. 4 ways to advocate for yourself. At some point, you've got to speak up. And who do you need to speak to, or who do you need to speak with that actually then, passes that message across to others? Damilola says, this misconception is my current struggle. Why is the misconception there? Remember I said when it comes to building trust is an ammunition within the organization. Your work, your quality work is an ammunition. It is a tool. So if that speaks already, then you must work hard at clearing the misconception. You must work hard at speaking to, you must work hard at talking with the power players to actually clear that up. What is the root cause of why the misconception is there? Misconceptions don't happen overnight. And even if they do, then you have to take responsibility and look for the opportunity to clear it up. Is it in a particular sphere? Is it in a particular, is it with a particular issue? So perhaps you've got to give me a bit more, context, but where is it coming from? Can you clear it up within certain circles? Can you get somebody to speak on your behalf? Can you look for the opportunity to advocate for yourself and find your executive voice at the table where you need to? But yes, it can be cleared up. It might take time, but it can be. I've been in an employment before where there was a misconception about me. I remember very vividly, over 10 years ago, I'm sure. And this misconception actually happened because, believe it or not, I played into somebody's hands where I should have been quiet. And I thought that this person was somebody that I could trust, I could be open with. I didn't realize that they were actually very stiff competition that was coming head to head with me. And by the way, what they then did was they took what it is that I said, twisted it completely and spread the word in such a way that my reputation was then at stake. Thankfully, what it is that they were saying came back to me. That if you don't know, you are sleeping with the enemy. You are in bed with the devil.
Wow.
So you need to watch it. You need to shut up your mouth. You need to manage this very, very quickly. And therefore, in situations, so how did I manage that? Thankfully, this person had also said it to people that know me and know me well. But to remedy the situation, there was really no project at that point in time, but I had a project that I was working on that was beneficial to everybody. One of the management meetings, I made sure that I stood up, I presented something that made me shine, but I clarified within that situation, that misconception. Some people knew what I was talking about, others didn't, but they guessed. So I'm saying that you will get an opportunity. And if you don't get an opportunity, who is your sponsor that can speak for you in the places that you don't have access to? You've got to identify them. You've got to manage those relationships. I hope I have dealt with that.
Yes, Coach Ife, what I'm really hearing, what is coming to my mind here is that it is not enough now to be complacent in our careers. If we really want to advance, we have to become active participants in our own careers. And I think that is the summary of what you are saying. We cannot just, this idea of going to work at 9, leaving at 5 or whatever time, it's if we are serious about advancing, it's not enough. So somebody has asked a really interesting question. Chisom says, how can one balance office politics and avoid transferring that energy into marital and natural friendships? Should I take the question again?
Take it again. I'm just wondering if I will call on somebody to answer that question as well.
How can one balance office politics and avoid transferring that energy into marital and natural friendships?
Well, actually, do you want to help?
Rose, please, can you?
Yes.
Okay.
Ola, give me a minute. You're definitely going to answer that. But the first thing I wanted to clarify is, first and foremost, how do you see politics? I've said it before. And which politics are you playing? Can politics be dirty? Can it be draining? Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it can. But the first thing is, how are you playing it? I have seen politics right before my eyes, where for the next few days, I'm just clapping and singing, and just the drama is, is getting my juices flowing like, So this is really what is happening here, But Ola, I know you're on the call, so if you want to take that, I'll be grateful. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Polaki,
hello.
Hi there. I think one of the big challenges with the politics is, particularly for women, I think we allow it to drain our energy. We allow it to consume our thinking. And when it does, you're not actually bringing your best thinking to the table anymore. The issue with it is then after you leave the office, if you bring it home with you, you're not bringing anything new home. It's just more of the same bad energy, and it doesn't actually help you in any way. So you get into this kind of vicious circle. If you try, and this is an extremely difficult thing to do, and Falaki knows, because every so often I call her and go, my God, help me switch off. So it's the actual flip the switch. Help me flip the switch on my brain so I stop focusing on this. I give my brain a rest from it. I pick it up tomorrow with a fresh perspective. And that helps. I think we can all probably admit, when we bring our work problems home and take it out on our loved ones around us, the situation never improves. I mean, all you do is add, an argument with your husband or with your children to already the stresses that you're having in work. So the difficult thing to do is to be detached and emotionally switched off, but it's probably the healthiest thing to do.
Thank you so
Glory,
much.
I have one more person that I'd like to call. I see Yomi Agiri, and I'm not sure if you heard the question, but perhaps he can also give us a male perspective. Yomi?
Oh, that would be great.
Do you mind? Thank you. Yomi may be driving or something. I suspect I've actually put him on the spot as well.
Sorry, Falaki, I didn't catch the question.
Yomi, the question was that how do you ensure that you don't necessarily bring the politics home, as in you don't transfer the energy into friendships and your marital space as well?
Okay, so I'll use my own personal example. I'm married.
Yes, please.
It helps if you're married, and it helps if you're open with your spouse. Tolu is also here, by the way. She's also listening, so there are two of us on the call.
Fantastic. These are my personal people.
I think it's important that both of you are open. If both of you already have that openness and you share things, it helps. You mentioned something at the beginning of or during your presentation about your husband being your greatest support, is your sounding board. It's the same for me as well. So if I have issues, of course, the person I talk to is my wife. So there's no way I won't, in quotes, bring it home. But I have to ensure that it doesn't affect the relationship with my spouse. Yes, she may be grouchy. There are times I say, I was wrong. My boss spoke to me somehow. Oh, sorry, don't worry, we'll talk about it. That may not be the time to talk about it. You may just want the person, just take it easy, calm down. When the person is okay, you can then share, and then you can give professional, I use the word professional counsel, not emotional. Because there are times, because you must also be able to tell your spouse you are wrong. Because a lot of times you say, no, don't mind your boss is not serious. But there are times when, guy, lady, your boss was right. You should not have done that. You should not have said that. So we must be honest enough to be open. We will share those burdens. We're married. I open up, she opens up, and we exchange notes. Oh, I had this kind of situation before in the office. This is how I managed it. Or why don't you talk to someone else? If it's an area I can't help, because like you said, we don't know everything. On this matter, sorry, there's no more. So it will be very difficult not to bring those things home. I mean, it's the same way. There are times you see your staff in the morning and you know that there's something wrong. Something has happened at home. I still spoke to a colleague of mine, was it the day before yesterday? What's the matter? She and her husband had a small misunderstanding. So I told her, sit down, close the door. And what happened? Not as if I had a solution, but just let her unburden herself. Hey, take it easy. So, because there was nothing, I didn't know what to say. So I just had to just be a listening ear, sat in my office for a while, and noticed she was better. And then she went and she started her work. So we can't, but you can't, it's difficult to compartmentalize. A lot of people say home is home, work is work. It's difficult, and let's not kid ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Yomi and Ola, for your perspectives. Very, very interesting. Coach Efe, I don't know if you want to add to that.
I think one of the things that, just again in line with what Orla and Yomi says as well, is, know when you need to get clarity as well. There are times that you allow certain things to bother you that should not bother you. Your friendships and your marital space is really, it's also where you need to be able to sometimes diffuse the situation. It's where you also need to get counsel. It's also your safe space, your safe zone to be yourself. So perhaps you also need to use that space wisely. Now, it's not necessarily every time. There are certain things that happen in the office. I don't disturb Mr. Nia Deleye about it. But there are other things that I know that I need to engage head on, whether it's bring your hand. We have to speak in tongues on this matter. Or it's a case of, I don't want to talk about it. Let me just think through. Give me 2 days, I'm trying to make sense of it. Then we can, So you also need to be real about how you want to use that safe space as well.
Thank you for clarifying. Guys, we're going to start rounding up now because we've kept Coach Efe for over an hour. Please, I want you to stick with us because at the end, she has a major announcement. And if you miss out on this announcement, or is your case, there is no replay of the announcement. So you have to be here to catch it live. And trust me, you would want to know what this is about. Okay, my last question is, a lot of times people say, look, I'm doing the work, I'm not getting promoted. I've had conversations with my boss about promotion, this, that, and the other. And he says, oh, it's not the right time, the organization. And then I hear so and so has been promoted, or this has happened, and all of that, Maybe I'm not part of the right cartel. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? And I know, Coach Efe, because a lot of things you've said here, one of the key words that has come out for me really, and I hope other people got this, is this idea of sponsorship, idea of understanding who are the influencers in your organization and always having people that can speak for you, not just the one person. And this is not only upwards, below, sideways, internally, everywhere, So how can we start to build sponsors that will help us in these conversations? Coach Efe, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I had gone on mute and I was talking to myself, Glory. So, Glory, I said, be damn good at your job such that your relevance cannot be ignored.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. I said your quality work, not just your good work, your quality work that cannot be ignored is your ammunition, first and foremost. Take comfort in where you are, or there are times that you need to migrate to associate with where the company sees relevance. I am the sponsor for quite a number of employees, some that may not even know that I'm their sponsor. However, a sponsor does not want to look bad. A sponsor wants to be able to make their word worth their salt. Make their salt worth their, I can't even remember the English, but I'm just saying, that it is important that if your sponsor is speaking for you, make them look good. They can only look good with the quality of the work that you are delivering. So where people may be playing favorites and, today you are in, tomorrow you are not, quality work breeds relevance. Relevance cannot be ignored. And when it comes to what parts of the question am I missing? There was also something about, is it about identifying the sponsors themselves?
The sponsors,
Glory,
yes, identifying the sponsors, yes, exactly.
The sponsors are usually people who are sponsors, people that have access in the corridors where you do not have such an access, and they can speak for you. So what do you mean about identifying them? You need to be able to know who falls within that, category. So you've already identified them. I've given you the criteria. The next thing is that if it's about approaching them and things like that, then that's a different matter. If you've done good work and you want to, e.g., or your team has done good work and you want to showcase that, that might be a conversation starter. But let me tell you something. No man is an island. Some people are watching you. People are watching you. And yes, at some point, if the work is good, if it is quality work, if it is advancing the cause of the organization, if it is in line and aligned to organizational interests, trust me, people at the top already know. It's now a case of where it is that how you want to then use that sponsor. Perhaps I need more context, but I hope I'm dealing with the
you've answered.
Issue.
You've killed it. You've killed it. You've killed it. Quality work is the summary of this post. The only thing I would say is,
Gloria, I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Can everybody else hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Coach Efe, it might be you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Coach, I can't hear you now, Coach FAA. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you either, Coach FAA. Do you want to log in and out? Is it your earphones? Because I can see you're using wireless. Can you hear me now?
She left. Yeah, she's trying to log back on.
She's trying to, okay. No, I can see her because she's using her daughter's one. No, we can't hear you. I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, that's when you're using 2-3 devices.
So the other thing I'm going to say, you mentioned about starting the conversation with a potential sponsor. So how do you've identified the sponsor, you are doing great work. How do you now ignite that conversation?
So I said it, I said, look, your quality work is the first place to go. Remember, you are trying to advance a cause, you're trying to advance an agenda. So start with some of the quality work that you've done. Remember my posts on Coachivate about letting your work speak for you, about making sure that you're actually engaging with that accomplishment. You are bragging about yourself, but maybe in a very subtle manner. You're bragging about your team. Again, bragging is just listing out your accomplishments and giving, and really embodying that. Now, the second thing, find a common ground. What is it that this stakeholder or this sponsor wants to advance? What are you contributing to that? How and what are you contributing to that advancement? So you are in marketing and they are in technology. Is there any data from a marketing perspective that they can use in terms of some project or some outcome of work that they need to deliver? And therefore, how can you be there for them? How can you do them that favor? Such that when they get to the table, when it comes to, again, your quality work, they can speak about it. There are times that you might not know a sponsor, third point, but you may know somebody that knows the sponsor. Showcase yourself. Showcase your work, showcase your deliverables, showcase how you dealt with a difficult situation to that person and how they then need to pass that good work to that sponsor. That's extremely important. And that's why I said that you cannot do that. You cannot do a lot of these things without also finding your voice, without putting your point across, without knowing how to communicate. And also, of course, managing your executive presence as well.
I think that's such a valid answer. So when I have a visibility masterclass that I teach, and one of the things that I teach there is what matters to them. So for example, where I used to work before, my CFO, I reported directly to the CEO, but also the CFO also had oversight over my career path. But then the two of them had different things that mattered to them. So if I was communicating the same way I did with my CFO to my CEO, I would not be seen as doing work to the other person. Do you understand? So you have to understand the common ground. You have to understand what that person sees as valuable. So I completely understand that. And I'm sure everybody did too. Guys, we've come to the end. We've been here for almost an hour, 30 minutes. But drum roll. FAA has agreed to give us an exciting bonus. I'm so excited. Yes. In fact, I'm so excited that I asked for my own first. I collected it first before I agreed for her to come and tell you people about it. Please, Coach FAA, I'm going to open the floor for you again to share about these exciting bonuses. I know there are two that you want to share with us.
Yes. So one of them, and I did this on another webinar that I was on a couple of weeks ago, and I was so astounded by the feedback that I received. So I am giving away 2 coaching sessions for free to 2 people who are ready to work with me when it comes to winning at work. For those of you that work with me, you know that, what it takes. Let's put that there. But so when it comes to winning at work and why you should win at work, tell myself and Glory why you need to be this person. So that means that you're practically sending us email and a write-up on why you should win this 1 hour coaching session with me. Yes, free coaching session. What do you need to do? You need to go to coachivate.org. First of all, coachivate.org/takemeinside. So join, first of all, the Coachivate Insider Group, which is really the inner caucus of Coachivate, and then send me email so it's reach out at Actually, it's the same email, Fidelia, right? It's the same email that you actually, that we send you when you come into coachivate.org/take me inside. Yes, Glory has actually put it there, and thank you, Fidelia.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
write
Thank you,
us
Fidelia.
short and sharp, and let us know why you should be the one to win. And don't forget, let us know what the takeaways, your takeaways from this session has been. Don't forget to CC Glory, because Glory is going to be the one to pick the winner.
Yes, I have the power.
Bridget said inner caucus gets to know first. And that is true. If you want to learn all things juicy, all things first, my inner caucus really does get to know first. Okay, so this is now open to all LinkedIn visibility followers as well.
Fantastic. Good. I
Okay.
thought there was something else you were going to mention as well.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's something else. And I think on another webinar, I had talked about an online course and wanting to do that in June and all that. But I keep getting feedback, and people have so many questions, especially about how best to position themselves within the workplace. And I thought, okay, this might not be it's not the time to sell. It's really the time to pour out. So I decided that I'm going to do a free masterclass. Drum roll, please, Glory. Free masterclass. Thank you, Emetiri and Eriolua, for clapping. Okay, this free masterclass, thank you, is titled Own the Room. Fidelia, please let me put it there. Own the Room. The secret to finding your executive voice and developing your presence in the workplace. If you are even going to engage in politics, if you are going to advance your career, if you are going to be good at what you need to be good at within the work environment, within the family, within your fold, you need to find your voice. And a lot of times, people are competent. People actually are competent, but it's now the clarity that you need. It is now about opening up your voice with courage and confidence that people are lacking. It's about bringing your credibility to the fore. It's about how you package yourself totally, from how you relate to how you communicate to how you look, to get serious, to get perceived in a serious way. That is what it is. And I'm therefore in July 18 to be specific, and I'll post it all over Coachivate. And Gloria, I trust that you'll also
I will share.
help promote this, but you need to own the room. In fact, I thought about calling it, is it own the room or command the room? You know how we Christians say, command your day, command your year, command the morning. You can command the room. You can own the room. But it takes developing your executive voice. It takes also managing your presence. Where I said about where I talked about how you're perceived. That's exactly where it comes from. So this free masterclass, sign up for it. The link is already on the Coachivate Instagram link. Please go to it, click on it, and register. When we get to a particular point, I will stop, because it is a free masterclass / group coaching session. And you cannot group coach with a large number. I want it to be interactive. I want it to be a safe zone. I want to be open and intimate about the mistakes that I have learned along the way, and how I have found my executive voice, and how I have also positioned myself in local and international organizations, in local and international settings. Thank you, Glory. So
Thank you
please
so
sign
much,
up, go
FAA.
register.
Thank you really
Thank
so
you.
much. I really enjoyed the session. Thank you for pouring from your wealth of experience. This is really brilliant. Thank you
so much. I love you.
Thank you, Damilola.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Bridget.
Guys, during the week, thank you for thanking us. During the week, I'm going to make the replay available to everybody. So by Wednesday, you will get a link on how you can watch the replay. So
Thank
if
you.
you need to
Good
watch
to
it back,
share
you can watch it.
and share.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right,
Thank you so
guys.
much
Thank you
for
so much,
being here.
Coach FAA. This has been amazing yet again.
Thank you, Glory.
Always, I told, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for even giving us more. We are like Oliver Twist, but you keep giving us more. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
grateful.
Thank you.
Siabonga, Siabonga.
Thank you, Siabonga, my brother. Siabonga.
All right. Okay, guys.
Thank
have a
you.
lovely weekend.
All
Bye,
right. Have
everybody.
an
Stay
amazing
safe.
weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Stay on top.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Stay on
FAA.
top. Bye, people.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.